What's up, YouTube? It's MythBro, and welcome to our very first update to Age of Mythology Retold. We were told there was a patch on the way this week, and boy did we wait for it. Friday afternoon, this patch finally dropped right on the eve of that Red Bull Wolo qualifier that's going to be going on starting tomorrow. So it's kind of crazy. We're getting a patch so late in the game. Things that I'm wondering about is if there are going to be fixes to the observing. Right now, oftentimes it freezes, doesn't let you get into matches, sometimes freezes even when you get into them, wrecks go out of sync, and that could really interrupt the flow of a tournament. So that'll be the first thing I'll be on the lookout for. And then, of course, are there balance changes? Will they put some balance changes, maybe things that maybe we felt needed it, and also balance changes the night before a tournament when there's been so much practicing going on? Absolutely crazy, but let's dig into it. This is Retold Update 17.27932. Today's patch is aimed at addressing stability and performance issues, understandably, important balance changes, and a few significant campaign changes. Thank you for playing and keep the feedback coming. Now, typically when we see our first patch, right, it's stability and bug focus, which would make complete sense. I think we're in a little bit of a weird crossroads with a major tournament happening like a few weeks after launch, right? That's what's kind of make things a little interesting here. So let's see what we have going on. Game stability and performances. Fixes for many of the most commonly experienced and reported crashes. Fixes for some situations that lead to an out-of-sync state. Minor performance improvements, now playable on Microsoft Store with some different devices, and many other minor improvements. So as always, if you see some out-of-syncs, make sure you are submitting those on the Age of Empires forums, but it looks like they've done a good deal to try to fix a lot of this, but they haven't specifically called out replays, is what I'll be kind of looking for here as someone who likes to cast a lot. Some localization updates, achievement updates, graphics, fixing some of the flickers, audio, battle cry sounds are properly played when using boost abilities. So these are very minor details kind of going over. UI, the tech tree is now accessible from the Learn tab. Minor updates to how stats are shown. Hotkeys, Sky Passage foundations can no longer eject units using a hotkey. So I think that was a bug with the Sky Passage foundations. And then controller and Xbox, if you're an Xbox or controller user. Additional places added to the Xbox Live profiles when interacting with social features. The command panel will refresh when swapping between input. That means between controller and keyboard. The UI, controller UI, will now hide the age up button at the maximum age, so no longer show that. Improved visibility of controller selection marquee over the water. That's that selection tool you have. Various controller UI radial menu improvements, minor contextual improvements for D-pad quick find. Players using controllers can now target units in the fog of war, and build menus and gameplay should now properly respond to controller inputs when connected via Bluetooth. So a bunch of little changes there. If you are an Xbox or a controller user and you notice some of these changes, let me know about it down in the comments below. Let's move on down to gameplay. So some fixes. So these will be probably bug fixes, and there'll probably be a bunch of little ones. Let's see what we got. Favor is no longer shown in temples for non-Greek players. Attempting to pick up relics before a temple is built will show that a temple is required. Okay. Trained units garrison into a gather point target if set to a garrisonable building. Okay, so that's how your units are trained. Removed rally point icon for buildings without that functionality. That's good to have. You don't need a storehouse to have a rally point. Villagers ordered to attack move. Can they even attack move? I'm pretty sure villagers don't attack move, so this is news to me. Villagers ordered attack move will no longer go to an idle state and become stuck. Maybe this means you can actually attack move with villagers? Let me know about that one, because you certainly could not before. Fixed villagers occasionally getting stuck on animal carcasses. Oh man, this is plagued us. You've probably seen this one. Hopefully that's going to be something that'll be helped. The Gulen Bursi, that is the Freyr god power in Age 1, properly spawned when cast over an untouched farm foundation instead of nothing happening. Oh my god, that would have been a frustrating bug. Relics picked up by a hero no longer return to the original position when a hero dies on land and no suitable position is found. Okay, so a little bug mechanic there with the relics and heroes. Units not shown by the Centimanus Shockwave attack. What the hell is that? Due to size class constraints are no longer damaged twice. Is that one of the, like, I think that's one of the myth units I just haven't used or something. I don't even know. Centimanus Shockwave attack. That must be what that is. I think it's an Atlantean myth unit, I believe. No longer damaged twice. When the villager priority system is enabled, site-based commands to build drop sites will now correctly construct buildings. That's always a good thing. Barrage arrows will now align with their path. Walk paths update to improve how they are shown in some situations. Cost shown will no longer show as red text if you have insufficient resources. Market buy and sell commands are now grayed out if the player does not have the resources. The villager priority system icon will no longer hide when in the expanded minimap while using mouse and keyboard. The immediately auto queue villagers at start setting can now be toggled while in the game. Oh, that's a nice little change. You used to only be able to do that in the menu. Pending auto queue entries will no longer flicker if the player does not have enough resources to train auto queue units. Okay, and toggling auto queue with multiple buildings selected will now maintain a consistent state throughout all selected buildings. Probably mostly impacting like when there's military auto queue in some situations. Okay, so a lot of little bugs, little fixes there. Let me know if any of those really stand out for you, or if there's something I might be missing there. But I'm very anxious to see what the balance changes are going to be. Campaign balance changes. Balance changes fix some of the campaign missions. The free rock and fall of Trident Mission 12 is no longer obtainable. Significant balance changes to fall of Trident Mission 18. So small campaign changes. Holy cow, what is this? Okay, you know, we thought there might be some minor tweaks. We have a major balance change right out of the gate here. Heroic Age research time increased from 60 to 75 seconds. That is absolutely massive. Not only that, Mythic Age from 90 to 120 seconds. That is huge. This particularly is going to impact those civilizations that maybe were going for a fast heroic age and didn't have a whole lot of units, and you could get your timing off, get your myth unit, get your god powers, and skate by. Or perhaps you're playing, I think about Egypt particularly, because a lot of time Egypt does go fast heroic to get those Migdals up, secure your second gold, right? That's a lot longer. You're going to have to wait now. It might be enough time for you to get pinned down in your base. Not to mention any of those fast mythic rushes. They are certainly making a big effort to slow the game down. So I'm trying to think what civs is going to impact the most. It is, I guess, going to be indirectly, it's going to be a buff to civs that are very good in the second age. It's going to help them out quite a bit. If you're someone who's playing a civ, your goal is to get to the third age right away, or even the fourth age. This is going to feel worse for you. But man, oh man, that's a big change. Let me know what you think about the age up times. Buildings, Town Center and Citadel accuracy increased from 0.8 to 1.0. What does that mean? That means static and placements are essentially going to be stronger. You're going to run through to raid with your cav or whatever it might be, and the accuracy is going to be increased. You're more likely to take damage. So this is actually going to give benefits to defensive capabilities, encourage turtling a little bit more, or at least some of those buildings and fighting underneath them. Town Center and Citadel also getting additional damage output. The first thing that comes to mind to me is like people love booming with Gaia, and like, man, this all seems like a direct buff to them, I would imagine. The garrison range has been reduced though. You can't pop in a building from as far as away. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like you'd be getting raided and you can just like pop it over top of the unit into a tower. So they've decreased that. Okay, static buildings getting much stronger. Just some minor balance changes coming up. Trees, wood increased from 150 to 200. That's an interesting change. So I guess villagers won't be moving around from tree to tree as often with a change like this. Huntable animals decay has been decreased from 0.3 to 0.2 food. So less impactful. Once you kill like a deer, it starts losing food over time. It won't be losing it as quickly. I'm not a huge fan of decay as it is, so I like that change personally. This one's a little weird to me. Let me know what you think about that wood increased. Quite different there. all pantheons change. The Greek pantheon, major gods. I thought it would show like sweeping changes, but it immediately goes to Hades. So I guess it's Hades specific. Okay, Hades, hit points bonus decreased from 20% to 15%. That's a huge, kind of a sweeping nerf to Hades. All of their units going to be getting 5% less bonus hit points. The oh boy, I'm not going to say it right. Gastrofetoros. Go ahead and correct me down in the comments. You know you love to. That's a hard one. Pierce damage decreased from 14-12. So that is their special archer unit that Hades has. It's not going to be as good anymore. Two less damage. The minor gods. Athena, Sarasa technology. Hoplite attack range decreased from 1.5 down to 1.0. So that's going to be a nerf to the hoplites. And Dionysus Bronze God Power now grants less armor. Improvement decreased from 50% vulnerability to 45%. A very minor change. Bronze is definitely really good. I still think it's going to be very good. That's a small change, but definitely we've had all nerfs for Hades that we've seen there. I'm assuming this Athena applies to all of the major gods for Greek. I would imagine is what it seems like. Myth units. The Minotaur adjusted as follows. Cost increased from 150 gold, 14 favor, to 180 gold and 15 favor. So they're making the Minotaur more expensive, so that's going to be a nerf. And the Pierce armor is being decreased by 5%. Not a huge change there, but decrease in more expensive. Now, this is what's interesting to me. So early on, there were these super strong Minotaur strats. Everyone's going mass Minotaurs. But then I feel like the meta shifted over with the last week, and now it's like back to mass Centaurs because of the area damage. And Centaurs have meanwhile been untouched, and this could likely be to just when this patch was drawn up. And the meta, it changes so quickly, right? It changes so quickly, but Minotaur is getting a bit of a nerf there for you Minotaur spammers out there. Divine is not going to be happy to see that. Cyclops, which comes from Ares, adjusted as follows. Cost has been decreased from 175 food, 18 favor, down to 150 food. So that's going to be a buff for the Cyclops, trying to make it more enticing. The hack armor has been increased, and the pierce armor. I will actually say I've played against a few people who did go mass Cyclops, and these things are absolutely gnarly. If you don't have ranged myth units, these things are really freaking good. So I'll be interested to see if we see some more Cyclops out there. I actually think they're slept on a little bit just because some of the other myth units are so good. But it'll be interesting to see if we see any Cyclops enjoyers, and will this influence players to choose the Cyclops now. The Hydra and Scala from Dionysus. So these grow additional heads, right? Now gain additional heads after inflicting the following amounts of damage. So they have nerfed this. You have to get 50 more here. You have to get 100 more there. A whole lot more there. Okay, so the scaling on this is going to get a lot harder. So the Hydra was scaling up really quickly before. And yeah, I guess we'll see how it performs. Will it? I mean, it is age 3 myth unit. You don't want it to feel underwhelming. So early on, it's going to get its second ahead. It looks like third. But yeah, it looks like it is getting a nerf there for the Hydra and the Scala. The Chimera? I don't know exactly how they say that one. I got to look that up. Hit points decreased by 100. Special attack decreased by 10. And special attack now inflicts less damage versus heroes. So that's going to be a nerf to Artemis. So we essentially saw nerfs across the board for the Greeks. The only unit getting a buff being the Cyclops. So Greeks have been sitting really strong on top of the ladder. Where is this going to put them? Well, we're going to have to look and see how the other civilizations been balanced out. Chime in. What do you think about these new Greek balance changes? How it's going to impact? Where are we going to see the most impact? Oh, there's more. There's more. I'm going to get ahead of myself. Toxitae's train time increased. Take that, you Hades archer spammers. Yes. Can I get a prostagma in the chat? Peltest cost increased from 60 wood to 70 wood. So a nerf for that. Man, they are just going to town on the Greeks. Train time increased for the Peltis. The Hippospis rate of fire attack slowed down. Nerf. Hit points for the Heliopolis nerfed. Petrobolos damage for ships increased. Oh, we got a buff. Got Petrobolos and Cyclops got buffed. And the Pentaconter hit points increased as well. So pretty much the TLDR is Greeks got hit with the nerf hammer. Will it be enough? Is it appropriate? Is it too much? Find out next episode. Fortress pierce damage drastically decreased. I guess that's all for all Greek fortresses. Whew. Man, oh man. I could tell you, one of these devs has been getting punished by Greeks. Well, I know I have. Egyptian Pantheon. Let's see, what are they going to do to my boy? Let's see what we got. Egyptians, we got Set. Animals of Set, hit points reduced by 25%, rounded to the nearest 5. I don't think that's a major change. I wasn't super worried about the animals of Set in most cases. They're getting eaten in most scenarios anyways. Ra, please buff them, please buff them. Priests and Pharaoh power embodiments, now power at 70% strength of a Pharaoh. Oh, this is a big change. It's not just like, I thought maybe they're gonna buff the Pharaoh empowerment. No, they're buffing the monument area empowerment as well as, or especially for Ra, their priest can empower. That means that went up 10%. So putting a priest on a gold mine or putting a priest on wood or doing that area empowerment with the Pharaoh is gonna be even more impactful. So I love it. That's a win for Ra, for our bird enjoyers. All the legacy players are like, we don't care. Ra was so good for forever. Don't buff him. Minor gods, Nephthys, Spirit of Mat technology, heal rate improvement decreased from 100% to 50%. Whew. Holy mackerel, that's a nerf there. Bast, Eclipse, the god power, the duration decrease. Yeah, this thing is really long. Only 6 seconds though. I don't know how they came up with that magical number, but 6 seconds down from Eclipse. Plague of Serpents from Anubis, god power. Total number of snakes has been decreased by 2. And now spawns 2 snakes every 3 seconds instead of 2 seconds. Okay, so typically this is, I think, used in a lot of cases to like distract the enemy army and aggro them versus like actually dishing out damage. But now you're gonna have less of them out there. They're not gonna come in as quickly during a fight, so you might wanna trigger a little sooner. So a little bit of a nerf there to the Plague of Serpents. Sobek, Locust Swarm, oh god, please buff this. Now deals 90% damage versus allied units and buildings. Wait, what? Wait, does that say minus 90%? Okay, does that mean Locust won't hurt my own units? I think is what that means. Minus 90% damage. I still don't think it's dishing out enough damage. Like, I didn't feel like the issue with Locust Swarm is that it was hurting my units, just that it literally kills nothing. Sad to see Locust Swarm not getting more of a buff, quite honestly. You can now run through your Creeping Barrage, I guess, and attack, but I would like to see this maybe even have more area of it, like a bigger area or deal out more attack. Locust is very underwhelming right now. Horus, the Tornado, can now properly damage settlements that are being constructed. I guess it wasn't before. Meteor, damage decreased. Okay, let's see what they're nerfing. 80 crush, 50 divine, down to 750 crush and 40 divine. So a little bit of a change there. I'm actually curious if we look at the health points of some of these buildings. What does that 58 manage? Where do these buildings look before they get building upgrades? After they get building upgrades, is this going to result in Meteor not taking out as much infrastructure? We'll have to kind of dive in the game to see that. But if you know those numbers on hand, please throw it down in the comment section, because I'll be kind of curious about that with Meteor, which is definitely one of the stronger Egyptian god powers. Okay, myth units. Pestruchos, the Sobek, this is the laser crocodile. Oh my gosh. Bonus versus heroes is decreased by half. No! You know I love spam these things. But damage changed from 50 pierce to 10 crush to 50 pierce, 10 divine. Very interesting. 10 divine. I am completely blanking right now of what the divine damage does. Does that mean it's gonna be better against myth units? 50 pierce, the pierce stayed the same. The crush is going away in the divine. Chime in the comments. I'm sure I've looked it up after I've recorded this, but I need to see how that's going to affect our laser gators. Still though, not looking like a major change to Sobek. I mean, I'll still play them, but it still doesn't look like they're gonna be that amazing. Scorpion Man, which is typically the pick of choice. Cost increased from 175 wood. It's gonna be additional 25 wood and 2 more favor. So a nerf to the cost, and the special recharge time going to take, looks like 4 more seconds. So a minor nerf there. I mean, these are going to feel pretty expensive. 200 wood, 24 favor. These are expensive. They are very strong. I think it's appropriate. They're very strong myth units. I would maybe like to see maybe even potentially more stat decreases, but we'll let this play out. We'll see how it is. I think Scorpion Man still is going to be quite strong. The Sobek Rock, okay, the flying bird, just what we needed, guys. This is what was holding Sobek back. The movement speed increased to 5 from 4.8. Takeoff time is decreased, and landing time is decreased. Now, it's a buff to the unit, certainly, but have you tried using the rock? It is a painful experience, and I'm going to tell you the only thing this is going to do. This just buffs the speed of which you can scout with your rock. For those rare cases, maybe you're using it. Sure, there you go. But this is a very minor change. I don't think none of this is going to make Sobek actually a very viable pick unless you're memeing like FitzBro out on the ladder. Okay, Sobek not getting the buffs I would have liked to seen, but some changes nonetheless. They definitely did get some changes. Pharaoh, rate of fire attack sped up from 1.2 to 1 second per each attack. So that's going to be a little bit buff there to the Pharaoh. Maybe help deal with like some of the early Greek heroes, perhaps. The Priest, Pierce Divine damage has been decreased. Okay, so they have nerfed the Priest, but buffed the Pharaoh a little bit, I guess, is how to look on that. Pretty significant nerf to the Priest. Axeman bonus versus infantry increased by 1. I think that's going to be nice. Just dealing with other infantry could be really hard sometimes. A Chariot Archer bonus versus infantry increased by 0.25, so a nice Chariot Archer buff there for you Chariot Archer enjoyers. Just good luck getting into the third age now. It takes longer. Siege Tower, Crush Armor has been increased. That they get killed so quickly by villagers. 10% extra crush. I think it's going to be nice. I still think villagers are going to delete them pretty quickly, but that does give them a little bit more of a fair shake. I've learned recently, I'm like, forget Siege Towers. Just go to the next stage and get your catapults because the Siege Towers are going to die. Ramming Galley, hit points is being increased by 20. Leviathan, bonus damage against myth units increased from 1 to 2.0. I think this is to bring it a little bit more in par so it can battle against things like perhaps the Kraken, whatever it might be. So it does additional bonus damage. War Turtle, bonus against myth units increased as well from 1 to 2.0. So they're kind of bringing the myth units on the water in par with each other. Buildings, Migdal Stronghold, Pierce decreased. So we saw it with the Fortress for the Greeks. I bet we'll see it for the Norse as well. Less damage for the Stronghold. Isis Monument. Now, this is actually maybe more impactful for the Egyptians because Egyptians really lean into getting these strongholds earlier on, right? So that's going to be a little bit less intimidating now. Isis God Power blocking radius has been increased from 20 to 25. Oh boy. So it wasn't blocking a ton before, and it's going to heal accordingly. So a buff to the Isis Monument. Okay, a lot of changes for the Egyptians. Definitely not a nerf hammer like we saw for the Greeks. Let's see. So we had essentially minor set nerf, little, significant, I would almost say, raw buff. We see some changes to a lot of the god powers and the minor gods. Locust really not seeing what I would have liked to have. I think we see snakes getting the biggest nerf, meteor as well. Look at the myth units. Some changes to Sobek, nothing super major, more expensive cost for Scorpion Man. And then looking at our human units, Priest nerf is maybe the most significant change here to the Egyptians today. A little bit of buff for the Chariot Archers, their Axemen as well. And some little bit extra defense for our Siege Towers. Okay, those are the Egyptians changes. Egyptian mains, sound out down in the comments. What do you think? What have they done to our Pantheon? Let's move on to the Norse. The Norse Pantheon. We're looking at Freyr, which is our newest amongst the gods. Maybe I would like to see some buffs because I don't see a ton of Freyr used, but we'll see. Freyr's gift technology now grants 10% hit points to all units. Before, it gives 25% hit points to heroes and human soldiers. So they've reworked this already. It's going to be 10%. So this is actually going to be kind of I think a nerf to your human units in late game, but I guess a buff to your myth units and stuff in the late game. But maybe this was overperforming in the later stages perhaps. But Freyr getting a little bit of change there. Gulen Bursty, the god power, can no longer be teleported by shifting sand. I have not seen that, but I love it. Sadly, it's going away, but I think that's creativity. I love it. But can still travel through the underworld. So you can use apparently he can go through the underworld passage. He just can't be moved by shifting sands. There you have it there. Interesting change for the Gulen Bursty. Minor gods. Urr, which is the Asgardian hill fort, which is the only one people choose. Fixed a bug where ox carts were unable. I reported this bug. I I reported this bug. Yay! I did my part, guys. Oh my gosh. They should just put FitzBro next to that, right? I'll be waiting for my royalty checks. Braggy, flaming weapons. Favor cost now increased by plus 50 each cast. Previously it was plus 25. So they're making it harder to use flaming weapons multiple times. It's very good god power. Probably appropriate. Walking woods. Oh, thank God they're nerfing this thing. These trees drive me crazy. Number of trees transformed into walking trees decreased from 8 to 7. Starting costs decreased from 150 favor to 100 favor. So recasting it's gonna be a little cheaper. You get one less tree. Not a major change, but you'll feel it. I still think it's very good god power. Ragnarok here with Baldur. Hero of Ragnarok hack damage has been decreased. Ooh, so that's a nerf to Ragnarok. Pretty big one. Think how many units getting one less damage. That's pretty big. Fimbulwinter, duration decrease. Oh man, this thing is so long. This is appropriate. I think it could even be more. It's still so good. It's so good. Idling everything, killing everything. These wolves. Fimbulwinter nerfed. A lot of Norse nerfs. It does appear. Vidar, the Inferno god power. Okay, this is the nuclear wolf, fire wolf. Have you seen it? Right? This is a very long. Wait, what is this? The Great Fire Wolf and Harbinger of Doom, Devourer of the Sun, Breaker of Chains, Scourge of the Nine Realms, Bane of the Gods, and Herald of the End of Times. Did they add that? Well, before detonating, his trample attack now inflicts 30 hack damage per tick to those foolish enough not to get out of the path. Previously 40. What? So I thought they were gonna nerf this thing. They took away 10 of its hack damage. I thought they were gonna nerf like the detonation because it's a ridiculous detonation. It just a nuclear bomb. They pretty much just said, yeah, you're taking a little bit less damage if you get in the way, which I don't think is really the power of it in the first place. So a slight nerf, but still gonna be good, I think. Rock Giant, myth units. Hit points decreased by 100. A nerf there. Portable Ram. It's gonna get some additional armor, additional crush armor, 10%. I think the Portable Ram does pretty good, so that's gonna be a nice little change there. The Dreki hit points increase by 20 points. Hillfort, pierce damage decreased as we've seen for all of the civilizations. Asgardian Hillfort adjusted accordingly. Okay, so the Norse definitely got some major nerfs, I would say. I mean, we looked at that. I think almost all of that was a nerf. The thing that really stands out to me, where are the explicit Odin nerfs? Odin has particularly been overperforming. I mean, the stats are staggering how much more Odin outperforms the other civs. There's no explicit nerfs to Odin. Now, you can say some of these minor gods, sure, might be. But kind of curious to me that they weren't targeted maybe with some more nerfs. So, I don't know. That doesn't feel right to me. Let me know, guys. What do you think about these Norse changes? Did they do too much? Is it not enough? Was Odin left unscathed? I guess we'll find out. Let's move on to the Atlanteans. And boy, there's only the one thing you should expect with the Atlanteans, and it should be buffs. Let's see if they get them. Oranos. Bonus now reads as follows. No changes were made. Okay, it's just text change. Okay, so I'll let you guys read that. Bonuses have not changed for Oranos. We'll leave all of that there. Okay, Gaia. Economic guild upgrades cost reduction from -30 to 35%. Okay, so a 5% buff to Gaia, cheaper eco costs. So is that going to be enough to put Gaia, bring them up from being the worst civilization in the game? I'm not sure. Let's see what else there is. Atlas Implode no longer sucks up flying units. Hate to see it. Phoenix is going to be escaping now. Carnivora. Plants bonus damage for villager decreased, so not going to be very effective against villagers, down to 0.25. Particularly with like stopping town center being built and stuff. Volcanic Forge with Lido now grants more pierce armor. Improvement increased from 10% down to 15%. So that will be a buff there for Volcanic Forge, trying to encourage people to pick that up. Oceanus, which I really like, frontline heroes. Fixed a bug where the upgrade would not show as applied for infantry heroes. I'm not really seeing sweeping buffs I might have expected here. Let's keep moving. Argus, special attack now properly inflicts burst damage at the end of the ability. Centimanus, oh yeah, that was the unit I thought from before, adjusted as follows. Bonus damage versus heroes decreased. Special attack now tosses units up to a weight class of 6. Cavalry. I really haven't even seen this myth unit used much. Special attack now properly targets over time, targetable over all units, and has an ability indicator. A special attack bonus versus myth units has been decreased. So a little bit of a change here to the Centimanus. That's that mythic age unit for the Atlanteans. Human units. Okay, could be some big changes here. Let's see what we see. Termas. Movement speed increased by 0.2. Be a buff. Hero Terma by 0.05. Terma Pierce Armor has been increased. Hack Armor increased 5%. 10% there. Okay, Termas. Big buffs to the Terma. Terma spammers. Drongo's going to love this. He's going to love this. You let him know. You go tell him FitzBro says, you're going to like this patch. Hero Arcus. Hack Armor increased by 10%. Big one. Fanatic. Hack increased. Hero Fanatic increased. Destroyer increased. Hero Destroyer increased. Fire ships. They have buffed pretty much a ton of Atlantean units. Mostly though, it's the Terma, the Arcus, the Fanatic, the Destroyer. That's what you're gonna be seeing. Okay, so buffs for the Atlanteans, well needed. I guess combined with the other ships getting some nerfs, could it be enough? I'm not sure. Palace. Damage decreased. I actually kind of expected maybe not to see this for the Atlanteans for some reason. Decreased a lot, 11 to 8.5. Mirror Tower Pierce increased by 5. Okay, guys, for the Atlanteans, a lot of changes there. Some buffs. I don't feel like Gaia really got a fair shake. I thought we would see some sweeping Gaia buffs. I really wonder if the devs think that, like, well, maybe people just haven't explored the Atlanteans enough. And to be true, I looked at the pick rates and people haven't really played them a ton. But I will say Atlanteans feel quite underwhelming. I'm not sure this is enough. You let me know about it in the comments. Did they do enough for Atlanteans? Or maybe the next patch will have to be their saving grace. Let's see what's happening here with our random maps. So they're reworking some of these maps. I'm going to try to just focus on ones we've seen in the ranked pool. Fix an issue in Highland where hybrid connections were not spawning. Nomad, fix Nomad starting resources for all Pantheons. That's going to be nice. Spawn more unpredictably for unknown and land unknown. That's nice. Ranked and quick match map pool changes. Removed Mediterranean from the ranked maps. There you go. A lot of people don't like playing water maps. I was just starting to get into it. I can't believe if you followed my channel, you know I hate playing water. I was just starting to enjoy playing water. Maybe because I've been playing Chronos and just time shifting people's docks and playing land. But Mediterranean no longer gonna be in the ranked pool. But they added Megalopolis to the ranked and quick match. Okay, so we get a new map. Well, not a new map, but you get my point, to the ranked pool. Nice change there. Sorry if you like Mediterranean. It's gone. You gone. Lobbies and multiplayer. Game ID URLs have been added to make it easier to join games. So there will be game IDs to join on. Can you search by them? Will be the important thing, right? If you can't search for them, it won't matter. It may only be functional for Steam users. Okay, so I'll be working with AoM GG probably as we're able to getting these game IDs. Eventually there should be an ongoing games endpoint, and I will have all those listed on the website so you can see all the online games by rank and stuff. I can't wait. Someday that'll be there. Chat messages should no longer have delay. Hell yeah, I love it. Improved searching for players to invite to games. Non-host players can now invite. Reduced time to refresh the multiplayer browser. Thank you. Improvements to allow switching custom scenarios in multiplayer lobbies. New options available in the settings menu to opt out of cross-network play. Ooh. I think that's for Xbox players. They turn that on and they no longer have to play cross-network. They can only play against other Xbox players. But I think my friend Yodesla will agree. This isn't really important. You know what is important? It's the opting out of cross input, because I don't care whether I'm playing an Xbox or PC user. What I care about is, are they on a keyboard or are they on a controller? If I'm on a controller, I want to play against another controller player, and I think they missed the mark on this one personally. Let me know what you think about that. Player chat, party chat is now available in ranked and quick match. And then investigation, they're going to track things from the community. You can always go ahead and report them. I'll leave a link to this in the description. And that's going to be it, guys. Man, a huge balance change. I mean, for one, I'm super excited to see it, and I'm super excited to dig into Age of Mythology, especially as we come into the weekend. But I can't help but say, but it feels like it's a little too late. Why they released this one day before the new patch? Now I need to go back and reread all the Red Bull announcements, because they might be playing on the old patch. I imagine it might be. I saw some hubbub maybe about that. But either way, it just feels weird. I would rather maybe have seen like the stability fixes, but maybe not these balance changes come in, or the balance changes coming in much sooner. But whatever, I'm not gonna complain. We're getting a patch. Age of Mythology is being supported, and I'm loving it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this patch review. I'll be doing a patch update like this every time a new patch drops, so be on the lookout on my channel for a thorough review. And if you want to discuss this further, leave me a comment below or join my link in the Discord. I have AoM channels, I've got forums, I've got individual channels for all the Pantheons, so come get involved in the conversation. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.